Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So Variety's Clayton Davis said on Variety's show on YouTube, The Take, that the Eternals critics review score on Rotten Tomatoes was so low because, get it? Sexism. Because Chloe Zhao, the director of Eternals, is a woman. And action movies are a genre usually made for men. But as we'll see, action movies that have been directed by women previously have been highly praised on Rotten Tomatoes. So we're going to take a look at the Bounding Into Comics article that has the quotes, and we're going to take a look at which female directors absolutely blew it out of the water with their takes on action movies. Starting off with Bounding Into Comics, Variety's Clayton Davis claims Eternals' Rotten Tomatoes score is so low because it's directed by a woman. Variety awards editor and the host of The Take, Clayton Davis, claims the reason why Eternals' Rotten Tomatoes score is so low is because it's directed by a woman. The Rotten Tomatoes score for Eternals currently sits at a rotten 50% from 249 reviews with an average rating of 5.6 out of 10. And then they go into, it falls 5 points further when you look at the top critic score, and it sits at 45%. So we'll take a look at that right now. There's the tomato meter, 50%, 86%. That's dropped in the last couple of days since its release from 56% down to 50%. So let's take a look, and we'll go top critics, 45% right now on the top critic scores. And the verified audience score is at 86%, and it's over 1,000 ratings. That's been at 86 since its inception, which is kind of weird because what we've seen with these audience scores before, as we saw with the Rise of Skywalker, Eternals 86% audiences, and Rise of Skywalker was stuck at 86% its whole time throughout its whole run as well. So it'll be interesting to see what number that ends up with. But moving on. So with that 50% rating, Eternals is the lowest rated MCU film on Rotten Tomatoes. Thor: The Dark World previously held that title and it was at 66%. This one's at 50%. Reacting to the poor Rotten Tomatoes, Davis stated, critics have weighed in on it and it's been very divisive, actually drawing the lowest rated Rotten Tomatoes score of any MCU film in history thus far. And this is the YouTube link where the video is at, and it was just released and it's got just over 700 views. Let's take a look at what he says. He continued, first of all, Elizabeth, that's the co-host, Elizabeth Wagmeister. First of all, Elizabeth, it's not a bad movie in the slightest. I think it's one of Marvel's best efforts thus far. It has great action, it focuses a lot on story, it's diverse, has great characters, all that. Davis then claims the reason why the critic scores are so low is because the film is directed by a woman. He explains, I think this speaks to a larger problem that is in the industry. Anytime a woman takes on the action genre, which has typically been made for men to helm, people come down harder on that filmmaker when she takes it on. I think the issue that needs to be addressed because it does not draw that criticism it's been receiving. Elizabeth Wagmeister concurred, saying, I agree with you 100%. Right when you started talking about this, I said, imagine that the film that is directed by a woman has the lowest score on Rotten Tomatoes. Not warranted. Well, hang on. It's the lowest critic rated score, which is you guys over at Variety and all these other places that are websites that get these exclusive access to these previews, and you get to review these films. You're the ones that have given it the absolute lowest score in the MCU on Rotten Tomatoes. So there's no one else to blame but yourselves. It's funny that you're claiming that sexism is holding this movie back in its ratings on Rotten Tomatoes when you're the ones that have rated it that low. It continues, interestingly enough, despite Wagmeister revealing earlier in the episode she talked to Gal Gadot about Red Notice and her upcoming role as the evil witch in Disney's live-action Snow White adaptation, neither she nor Davis mentioned Wonder Woman, directed by Patty Jenkins, also helped with the written by Zack Snyder. If the idea that critics are somehow lambasting Eternals because of Chloe Zhao's gender, wouldn't it stand to reason that Wonder Woman would have terrible critic reviews as well? Instead, the 2017 film has an astounding 93% tomato meter score. Yes, Wonder Woman, 93%, and my favorite DC EU movie. And then if you go further down, we've got Black Widow, directed by Kate Shortland, so that's another female, 79%. And then you have Captain Marvel, one female director. And I guess you can still call these action movies, but they're still in that Marvel. But if you want to really go into a female director who has directed a bunch of action movies, you really want to look at Kathryn Bigelow. Now, Kathryn Bigelow has done a bunch of movies, and a hell of a lot of them have been action. Zero Dark 30, great movie, depending on where you want to stand on the facts of the matter, that's another thing, but the movie was good. The Hurt Locker, one of the best military movies, in my opinion. And then you've got a bunch of other action movies. Zero Dark 30, 91%. Hurt Locker, 97% for the Hurt Locker. 97%. Directed by a female. Then you got K-19 Widowmaker, 61%. Weight of Water I wouldn't classify as an action movie. It's more of a thriller and Mystery, so that one wouldn't really count. And then you've got Point Break and Blue Steel, 75%, 69%. So definitely female directors can hold their weight, especially Catherine Bigelow, and 97% for The Hurt Locker and 91% for Zero Dark 30. So critics have given female directors high praise before on Rotten Tomatoes. So he's saying that the critics are sexist against Chloe Zhao because she's a woman directing a male genre, an action film. You just called yourself and your colleagues in the critic review media of these movies sexist. How dumb are you? So Davis and Wagmeister's opinion simply does not align with the evidence. It's possible that, like Eternals actor Kumail Nanjiani, they are attempting to build a narrative to deflect blame from the film if it happens to do poorly at the box office. Nanjiani infamously reacted to an article claiming that Eternals was being review bombed on IMDb, writing, "It looks like we're upsetting the right people," which I've done a video on before, you can go check that out. And he said, yeah, looks like we're upsetting the right people. A few people weren't happy with the LGBT representation in the movie, apparently. So he ended up deleting that tweet. And then the critics come out and they bomb this movie. So it looks like it's upsetting more than just the right people. So it's funny that the critics who pan this movie, give it a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, want to come out and then say it's because of a female director on an action movie. That's why the critics score on Rotten Tomatoes is at 50%, because the critics are being sexist against Chloe Zhao for doing an action movie. What an asinine take. If he was talking about the overall scores and audience, you could have made an argument, but no. He's talking about the critics score, and he's one of the critics. Good job. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, share this one out, and I'll see you in the next one.